Alright, welcome to another week of Force of Will news. The big news this week is the announcement of the new starter decks that are going to be in the next cluster. So that's going to be the main thing. There's a couple other things as well, but we'll be covering both what they showed about the starter decks on the Facebook announcement, as well as what was covered in the Q&A video with Jordan, and other tidbits that was revealed as well. So first was the reveal of the 5 different starter decks that are going to be in the next cluster. It said they're going to be released in August. The exact date is right here. The biggest one that most people are hyped about is obviously the new God Panda, cosmic god of the universe as far as we can tell. One big standout that I noticed was that the inclusion of special magic stones as well as the basic magic stones in each of the starter decks. That's a departure from the last ones. We don't know what types of special magic stones these are. We know that they were introducing new types of special magic stones in the next cluster, so this might be the first intro into that essentially. And these also confirm the inclusion of a mermaid starter deck, what looks like a type of dragonoid starter deck, the panda obviously, and whatever the other two were. Now, during the Q&A, Jordan did confirm that the starter decks will have their playsets of each of the cards inside of them. However, this time around they will not be half non-foil and half foil. It will all be non-foil, with the exception of the ruler will be foil, and all of the magic stones will be foil. I forget now on the top of my head if he said basic magic stones are foil, or all magic stones are foil. So that's something we'll find out in the coming weeks, I assume. And one of the other things about the starter decks is he did address the release date of them, which is in late August, which is separate from the release date of the next booster set in that cluster, which is in September. And he confirmed essentially that the starter decks are going to be coming out a couple weeks before the booster box, so that'll be interesting. And he did say that there will be promos associated with the starter decks again. So that'll be something cool to look forward to. These last set of starter decks, the promo associated with them was Sacred Elf. And also, I think Boris the Adventurer was associated with it somewhat. I'm not sure, that was kind of wonky. But for sure there will be something going with it, so that'll be pretty cool. I don't know if it's a promo that's going to be inside the packaging or something that's separate that the distributor has to give to you, but that'll be pretty cool. And when asked if the cards are going to be unique to the starter decks again, like in Lapis Cluster, or if those cards we will see printed in the booster boxes, he declined to comment. Now, whether this is just him avoiding the inevitable answer of, yeah, they're unique again, or some sort of indication that they will be reprinting them in some fashion, we're not sure. I'm hoping they're still unique to the starter decks, and maybe since they're non-foil, then what we'll see in the booster boxes will actually be like full arts, foils, different things, different rarities of them essentially, and not just straight up just reprinting, so their starter decks essentially become structure decks. He also did confirm that the starter decks will not have dice or booster packs in them like the previous Lapis starter decks, and he did confirm that they are aiming for a lower price for these. So judging by not only them not including the booster packs or the dice and also taking out the foiling of the cards, I believe that they're aiming for an extremely low price in possibly the $10 to $15 range, something extremely cheap, affordable, easy for new players to get in. I personally am kind of bummed out about that because I preferred the Lapis starter decks that were not only nice, and you got foiling, you got 3 booster packs, and you also got dice, so it's just a well-rounded package that made it so I would always want to buy another one of them, even if I only needed 1 or 2 cards from the starter deck. The purchase felt justified because I would be getting full versions of those cards as well as booster packs and more dice on top of it. So I'm kind of bummed out about that, but the flip side, I think this will be good for new players getting into the game. Now, moving on to news outside of the starter decks, there's actually a couple different things we found out, mainly during the Q&A. The first of which is that the Vingolfs going forward are going to be a similar power structure to Vingolf 3. So one of the big complaints about Vingolf 1 and especially Vingolf 2 is virtually all the cards, with the exception of a couple, are unplayable competitively. They're just not useful. They're either useless cards or identical versions of those cards exist, but better, like cheaper, better effects, different things like that for exact or cheaper costs. And Jordan did say after this huge success of Vingolf 3 that going forward all Vingolfs will be a similar power structure to Vingolf 3, where you have some strong cards, and some average cards, and pretty much almost no straight up weak cards like we've seen in the previous two Vingolfs. So that would be really cool. And he did confirm that Vingolf 4, the next one coming out this year, is based on an IP again. So Vingolf 1 and 2 were both based on pre-existing IPs in video games, kind of anime. Whereas Vingolf 3 was contained inside of Force of Will. This next one is going to be based on an outside IP address, so that'll be something interesting to look forward to and sort of find out what it might be based on. Regarding Vingolf, when I asked him if something non-anime related, the example I gave was Zelda, but really anything non-anime related in style could be a Vingolf, he said anything's really possible. So that'd be cool to sort of see something that's not anime style be incorporated into a Vingolf. I think that could be pretty cool, and it brings in a lot of possibilities as well. When asked about the Wanderer ban list, he said that any news regarding that will be released as soon as a booster box comes out. So whenever a new set comes out, they'll immediately release a ban list to accompany it. For example, this next set, Echoes of the New World, when it comes out, if they have any bans, it'll be announced. It sounds like the day it comes out, and if there's no bans, obviously we won't hear anything about it. But so that's something, if you are really into Wander, something to look forward to. There will soon be more Void cards, like machines, that we will be seeing. So the machine deck really hasn't seen anything since back in BFA, and I can't really think of much else outside of that. It hasn't seen a lot of love in a while. So that'll be cool to sort of see some more machines, and maybe we'll eventually get Machine Ruler again, something to supplement, since both machine rulers are going to be rotating out. And this was already somewhat confirmed before, but he once again reiterated that once rotation happens, Regalia are done. It was an Alice cluster thing, and we won't have to worry about that again. He did say that they are working on new training decks. So the last set of training decks aren't very useful because they used old mechanics, the instant chance instead of quick cast chance, the attack and defense are at the bottom of the card instead of left, different things like that. They're just not useful anymore. So he did confirm that there are in the works of new training decks, which will be really good, especially for local stores trying to get into the Force of Will scene. When asked if they'd be reprinting Clockwork Furnace for draft, he said not in the immediate future, and heavily hinted that something is going to be printed for the next cluster. So once the rotation happens going forward, booster sets are going to have more cards per booster set, which is going to lend itself heavily for helping in draft. And so it's sort of expected that they'd be printing some type of ruler, whether it's a reprint of the current Clockwork Furnace or something new. So he essentially confirmed that something is on the way. He also confirmed that in the next cluster there will be more dragons. That's really awesome, especially for someone like me. I love my dragon decks. I'm still sad that Sylvia is dead, although I'm holding out hope that they'll bring back her in a sort of zombie Sylvia, something like that, so I can run a dragon zombie deck similar to what I did in Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. He also confirmed that he himself, Jordan, will be attending Masters, so if you're going to Masters, that'll be something kind of cool to look forward to see him there. He also said that May 16th at 12 o'clock Japanese Standard Time is when they are releasing pre-release info and pricing. So any information regarding pre-releases such as the mats, promo cards, different things like that is going to be coming out then. L4 information is going to be coming out on the 19th, including playmats and promos for buying multiple booster boxes and pretty much everything related to that. Also on that date, the 19th, is when we're going to start seeing spoilers, so that'll be really cool to look forward to. So in American time, that would be a Thursday about 10 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, somewhere around there. So that'll be really cool to look forward to. So that's next week. So keep an eye out for that. We'll definitely have some videos regarding that on here as well. He also said that an employee had suggested that they hold some of the world's tournaments on a cruise ship, to which he said was immediately shot down. I quickly pointed out that in Pokemon they held tournaments on cruise ships, or at least variants of that all the time, and he reminded me that, quote, yes, but the captain was barfing in a trash can, so that's a fair point. And that's pretty much all the news. He did say that there's a big announcement coming in within the next 7 to 10 days, he said. So keep an eye out for that. We'll update you as soon as we hear. I'm sure you'll probably see it if it's a really big announcement. If it's big enough and it comes out before we do our weekly video, we'll probably just release a specific video for that. So that'll be something to look forward to. As far as channel updates, there's nothing crazy going on right now. We are working on a couple of pretty interesting, unique videos that we'll be releasing the next week or so. We have our normal gameplay videos coming out. Myself and Michael, recently he got some starter decks for the old Digimon Digi something game, I forget. But we played a game with it and it was actually a lot of fun, so we'll be releasing that video soon, as well as maybe we'll do more if you guys like it, because I actually enjoyed that game a lot. And we're working on possibly getting some more Star Wars Destiny stuff out there. It's a little bit difficult right now, but we're still working on it, I promise. As well as Force of Will, maybe some more Pauper I think we're working on, because people seem to like that, as well as some other game modes. So any suggestions you guys have, once again, just let us know below, and we'll see you next week.